minute. Are you saying burger as in Burger International? That's right. But they're worth billions. Exactly. And they now have control of Rashid Investments? Unfortunately so. Well, Dillon said and paused. That could be a problem. The rain hammered on the roof. Organ music swelled from the church. Blake said, "Why does it always rain at funerals?" "It's the way Hollywood does it," Dillon said. "It's life imitating art." "Who was the hard man?" "The one escorting him," Blake said. "Interesting you should call him that." "It's the broken nose, Blake. I'd hate to see what was left of the man who did that to him." Ferguson joined in. "The name is Marco Rossi. He studied economics and business at Yale, then joined the Italian Air Force and flew a Tornado in Bosnia. You'd have a lot in common with him, Dillon. He was shot down and had a very energetic time behind Serb lines. Very unreasonable people, the Serbs, but then you know that. His mother once worked for the Baron. She was born in Palermo, and yes, her uncle Juan Dino Rossi was mafia in a very big way." Dillon said, "So what's young Marco up to now?" It was Blake who answered. "Amongst other things, he's taken over all security operations for Rashid Investments worldwide. Don't kid yourself, Sean. This guy is good. He's not to be screwed with, even on the pavement." He shrugged. "I've even met him on the social circle in Washington. He's charming and civilized, and the women love him." "Only don't push him the wrong way," Ferguson said. "When he was on the run behind the Serb lines in Bosnia, he killed at least 4 men that we know of. He keeps an ivory Madonna in his pocket. When you press the button, the blade jumps out and shears right up under the chin." Ferguson smiled thinly. "Your kind of man, Dillon." "So, if he's taken over all the security operations at Rashid Investments, that means he can access everything the Rashids ever had on us in their computers." "Exactly," Ferguson said, "including how you shot Kate Rashid's 3 brothers and interfered rather harshly in their oil operations in Hazar. And I do think he's going to find it more than a remarkable coincidence that Kate Rashid subsequently went into the drink at the controls of her Black Eagle, and her dear cousin Rupert vanished off the face of the earth. So they're going to be coming for us." "Oh, yes, Dillon. I should very much think so." He reached into his briefcase and extracted a large envelope. "You'll want to read all of that, especially the bit about what von Berger did in World War II. That's especially enlightening." He leaned back. "Yes, Dillon, I think we're in for a very, very interesting time of it." Berlin, the Führer Bunker, 30th of April, 1945. Chapter 2. If there was a hell on earth, it was Berlin. It seemed to be on fire, a charnel house, black smoke drifting everywhere. The city was doomed, everyone knew that, and the Russians were already in control of the eastern half. The people were on the move, refugees from their own city, carrying what they could, a few pitiful belongings, with the desperate hope that they might somehow get to the west and reach the advancing American army. Groups of SS were stopping anyone in uniform. Those without a pass or some sort of order were shot on the spot. Shells were dropping in, fired at random by Russian artillery. People cried out in alarm and scattered. Sturmbannführer Baron Max von Berger sat in the front passenger seat of a Kubelwagen, the German equivalent of a jeep. He had an SS corporal driving, a sergeant in the rear seat clutching an MP-40 Schmeiser machine pistol. As they moved along the Wilhelmstrasse close to the Reichschancellery, they saw 3 SS soldiers with 2 men in civilian clothes on their knees, about to be shot. Von Berger told his driver to halt. "Stop," he said. "What is your authority for this?" The men paused. Their leader, a sergeant, had a brutal, unshaven face. He took in Von Berger's black leather coat and the young face, and failed to notice the knight's cross with oak leaves and swords under the collar of the coat. "And who the hell are you, sonny?" "Sturmbannführer Von Berger." The smell of brandy was powerful. "At your age, you look about 19. I bet you sold uniforms, you and your mates here." He cocked his Schmeiser. "Let's see your authority." "Oh, I can show you that." Max von Berger took a Luger from his right-hand coat pocket and shot him between the eyes. The sergeant in the rear of the Kubelwagen sprayed the other two as they turned to run. The two men who had been faced with death got up in a daze, and von Berger waved them away. "Clear off!" He turned to his driver. "Carry on!" The Kubelwagen turned out of the Wilhelmplatz and into Vorstrasse and approached the Reichschancellery, which was, like everything else, a victim of the bombardment, defaced and crumbling. It had long since passed functioning as any kind of headquarters, but under 30 meters of concrete was Adolf Hitler's last command post, the Führer Bunker. It was a self-supporting subterranean world, complete with electricity, fresh water, and extensive kitchens, still in touch with the outside world by radio and telephone, and crowded with people like Bormann and Ribbentrop and numerous generals, all trying to avoid the harsh reality that 30 meters over their heads the Third Reich was coming to a disastrous end. The vehicle ramp was ruined, but there was room to park the Kubelwagen to one side. The SS sergeant got out and opened the door for von Berger. "Quick thinking, Herr Baron." "A reflex, Karl. It's been a long war. You didn't do too badly yourself." He got out, reached for a briefcase, turned and walked to the two SS sentries at the bunker entrance. They sprang to attention. "Sturmbannführer! One of you, deliver this to Major General Moncker's aide. It's the report the General wanted on the state of No. 2 Brigade's readiness for the final assault." One of the men took it and went downstairs. Von Berger turned to the other and clapped him on the shoulder. "Find me a drink. I got shot in the left hip last year, and some mornings it hurts like the devil. I'll be in the garden." The boy went off at the double, and von Berger said, "Come on, Karl," and went round to the once lovely garden, now a wreck, with some trees uprooted, the occasional shell-hole. There was sadness to the place for what once had been, and for a moment the artillery seemed like the sound of distant thunder on the horizon. He took out a cigarette case, selected one, and Karl Hofer gave him a light. A tough, hard young man of 25. Hofer was a forester from the Baron's great estate in the forest of Holstein Heath, the Schwarzplatz, the dark place. They'd served together for 4 years. "So, my friend, we're in a fine fix, aren't we? We were in Stalingrad, too, but we made it out, Baron." "Not this time, Karl. I'm afraid we might have to take up permanent residence. I wonder how it's like at home." He was thinking of Schloss Adler above the village of Neustadt. It had been his family home for 700 years, a huge expanse of forest, dark and mysterious, dotted with villages, every inhabitant a member of the extended family of which he was the head. "Have you heard from the Baroness?" Hofer asked. "I had that letter 4 months ago, but nothing since." "And you?" "Just that one from my Lotte in February. She mentioned the Baroness, of course." Lotte worked as her maid at the Schloss. Von Berger's father, a major general, had been killed during the Polish campaign in 1939, elevating Max suddenly to the title of Baron. His mother had died at his birth. The only woman in